recently I had a client contact me and their email had been hacked, and it's something that they had no idea had happened, and they weren't able to catch it until after their own clients had been messaging them, letting them know that they were receiving funny invoices and billing. What would you do, and what advice would you give to a client who had something like this happen?
Yeah, no, thanks, Samantha. It's a lot more often. It happens a lot more often than people would like to admit. Or even in this scenario, the client actually realized because some of their end customers were impacted. But a lot of our clients don't even realize, or prospects don't even realize that it has actually happened until it's too late. Fortunately, in this case, sounds like they got the feedback early and didn't have any data breach of that sort. There are a couple of things to be done in this scenario. First, and there's no one single kind of solution here. So for people who are looking for like, hey, here's like one thing I'm going to do and get rid of it, that just doesn't exist. There's a bunch of things that every company should be doing to avoid this kind of scenario. One, talk to whoever your IT manager, company who manages your IT, internal IT, external IT, and make sure the email settings are done properly. There are security settings that your team should be implementing called DMARC, DKIM settings. Make sure those are in place. That's kind of the first, proactive prevention for this to happen. Second is making sure you are training all of your staff that these things happen and how to catch them. Because in this case, very likely somebody, when they got that attempt of like phishing attempt, somebody within their organization clicked on something they should not have. And we go through a lot of training material for all our clients and their staff, especially who are kind of less computer savvy, to help them identify these kind of phishing attempts and prevent them, right? So that the prevention is the key, and training your staff how to identify that. And it's not just a one and done thing. The phishing attempts evolve over time. Hackers are also human beings; they get smart over time. So really going through that continuous training path and having that program in place is kind of that second thing that one should be doing. And then the third piece is also having a response plan. So a lot of times when these things happen, companies are caught almost like with a cold feet, or like, hey, what's happening and what should I be doing? Versus just having a plan and thinking through that scenario, even if that plan or scenario is just a one pager, or just like you had a 15-minute discussion internally with your IT team of like, hey, here's what, if this happens, here's what we will do. Ease a lot of nerves, and your team is already ready how to react and how to handle that situation. So just having that response planning discussion in form of discussion or some form of document helps a lot in these kind of scenarios.
Is there any type of insurance or anything that a company can do to help mitigate something like this when it does happen, and it does cause a financial burden?
Yeah, great question. There's quite a few different forms of insurance. The primary one, if any company does not have this, is cyber insurance. Every single company should have a cyber insurance, or should be discussing about with their insurance agent about how to get a cyber insurance. And some of that cyber insurance is also, making sure whoever your IT provider, if you have an external IT provider, making sure they have appropriate cyber insurance, and the agreement between you and the external company specifically calls out and addresses what kind of scenarios are covered by the company's cyber insurance, your external vendor cyber insurance, or what kind of cyber insurance you need to cover your liability. It's an absolute must-have.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. That's all, I think.